Last week, I talked about decision making. This week, I'm going to talk about actually launching. So there's three phases to your launch. Phase one is actually finish. And if you remember from our previous class, I talked about this idea of minimum viable feature. So what minimum viable feature means is that you have a problem that you solve for a particular avatar, and there's competitors in the market, and they have some standard. So whatever competitor is currently out there in the market, there's some standard for how people expect things to be done. So what you want to do is you want to say, what are the main features of the standard? And make sure that you have those 3 to 5 features. Okay. But then you want to have plus your extra feature, your unique value proposition. And I always say you really just need one additional feature that makes you unique. Don't try to build everything into the perfect app because you don't know what the perfect app is. You don't know what the perfect software is. It's all a guess until you get in the arena with real customers. But you can't go into real customers if you don't have something that's unique. So we talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago, but just to reiterate. So finish your actual app, make sure that it's live, make sure it has its own DNS record. If you debug it, make sure it actually works. And if it's an app, submit it to the App Store, all of that kind of stuff. Again, this is not the class for exactly how to do that. There's a million trainings in your Discord and in the help center to help you do that. And if you need help one-on-one, you can always schedule a call with Mark, for example, or you can schedule a call with me and we can just take everything for you. But nonetheless, you want to finish. We've been talking about finishing for a while. So you got to just take it to the finish line. And if you remember from last week, it's either time or money. There's no other way around it. Either you pay someone to help you figure it out and speed the process up, or you just put in the hours. If your dream business and your dream life is on the other side of 20 hours of debugging something, it is what it is. Welcome to entrepreneurship. If it was easy, everyone would do it. The main thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that people can actually sign up if you're having a freemium account. You guys know what freemium is. This is like the standard way of approaching software and apps these days. So you have some free version, and then there's two paths. Either you can monetize through subscriptions or you can monetize through usage. So usage is just based on how much you use it. Freemium is there's usually some like regular version. There's usually a pro version and there's like some enterprise version and the prices go up monthly. But either way, you got to have your pricing model. So can someone sign up for free? Do your basic emails work? Are they going to get a login? Is it going to actually function? Can they sign up? And then can they pay? It's just connected to the Stripe account, and then you connect the products to your software or app. So that's it. You just have to connect your Stripe account to your products and your software so that you're actually going to get paid. And then if they do pay, they need to unlock the next level. So whether that's a feature or more usage or whatever it may be, it's as simple as that. It's the same thing for usage. They're just for usage, you just have to say, oh, let's say it's like a chat thing, or there's videos, or there's, I don't know, unlocked features or menu items or something like that, whatever. And each one of them are going to cost some token-based thing. So anyways, you figure that out and you make sure that people can actually pay. That's phase one. You want to go as fast as you can to phase one because your perfect scenario that you imagine in your head is not perfect and you don't even know what the company is yet. Really, that's the truth. All we're trying to do with phase two is get to a point where we can do a 2.0 version. But you don't know what your 2.0 version is, the upgraded version is, unless you have real users. And so the title of this lesson, I think I put on Discord was like getting your first beta users. So obviously, before you need to do that, you need to finish. Here's the standard way. This you probably recognize this from Alex Hormozy, if any of you guys know who he is. This is the standard way, and in this order of how I would approach getting people to sign up. So the first users that you're going to have is I just call it friends and family. So maybe you have 50 people in your contact list, and you just got to be shameless, and you just got to say, "Hey, here's this new thing that I have. Sign up for free." I think you get a lot of benefit from it and just see if you can get like 50 people just through your own network. You send them emails, you send them Facebook messages, you send them Instagram messages, you text them. Think of raising money. The first thing that you do is you talk to the people in your family that have some money and if you can raise $5,000 or $10,000 from your family, that's essentially the way that you do it. I'm not going to get super into detail of how to do that. Then if you have access to an email list, you want to do what's called a reactivation campaign. If you don't have access to an email list, It's a little bit more advanced, but you can connect with someone that has an email list and you can do an affiliate relationship with them. But you always want to start with whatever's free. So you'll notice here that all of these in phase two, up into running ads, is free. So this is the free section. And you want to do everything that you can to get free users. So step one is friends and family. Connect with them, whatever is the best way. Step two is an email list if you have an email list. Does anyone have an email list? Or am I talking to? By the way, if you've had any companies in the past, your email list is the most important thing that you have by far. Because think of the algorithms change. Has anyone spent a lot of time building like a YouTube channel or Instagram channel? Do you know what's happening right now in the algorithm? The way that the algorithm works, I don't know if you guys know this anymore. So the way that the algorithm, old algorithm, a quick little social media lesson. So you have old algorithm, you have new algorithm. And this is true for all of them, by the way, an algorithm. Nice. So the old algorithm used to be based on, what do you guys think? What was the algorithm? Likes, engagement. No, it's still based, the new algorithm is still likes, comments, and engagement. Followers. Adrian, you got it. So everyone used to say, well, subscribe, followers slash subscribers. Because what the algorithm was a little bit stupider back then. So there's a piece of content. And what does Instagram want or YouTube want? They want people to watch. So what is the prediction is their followers will actually watch it. That makes sense. So they were using the followers as a way of predicting how the video was going to go. So if you had a video, it would, and you had 1 million followers, it would be shown to 500,000 or 1 million of your followers. So immediately it's going to be shown to 500,000 people. So the game is, how can I get a bunch of followers? The followers don't matter anymore. They literally don't matter. It's just a vanity metric. It changes nothing about it. It's not predictive of how the video is going to perform or the piece of content is going to perform. What's predictive now is that you post something, and really, all the algorithms basically work the same way. And they'll show it to 100 people that are new and then 100 followers, something like that. Less if you're like a very new channel. But and then what it does is it says, how did it perform? And what do you think it's tracking to see whether it performs or not? What do you think? So this is all the algorithms at this point are like, how did it perform? Retention, which is watch time, essentially. That's the most important thing. Shares, likes, engagement, commenting, all that kind of stuff. So that's what it cares about now. And if the numbers are good, then what will the algorithm do? Send another 500 followers, but it'll show it to more people, but it's not going to show it to a ton of people. It's just going to show it to another group of people. If bad, it essentially just stops. It stops showing it to new people. And then what ends up happening? And then it keeps on going up. So if good, then it'll show it to 2,000 more people. And if bad, it will stop. And if it, after the 2,000 people, if it still performs good, then it'll show it to 10,000 people. And then it keeps on going up and up. But at every point, these new cohorts, if it does bad, it stops. This is how the algorithm works. It's checking at every single stage. So for example, the algorithm that, I don't know if you guys have seen the cheating CEO or whatever. This is like one of the fastest things I've ever seen on the internet. It's like you can't get away from it. This was shown to a couple hundred people, and then that person that originally had that video was not like some famous influencer. Think about that. Think about that. So the person that was that the original video that started to go viral, then of course now it's like being clipped and a lot of people are posting about it. But the first video that went viral was not like some big influencer, it was just some random person that was at the concert. Think about that. So how did this random person that was just at a concert have a video that's been seen 100 million times in 2 days? They don't have 100 million followers. They don't have 1 million followers. It's because at every single stage, it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then it just kept on showing, and it just shows it to everyone. So this is actually really good news. On social media, you post to social media, you DM some people on social media, and you can use social groups. All of a sudden, you could potentially go viral and you can get tons and tons of people. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to go out through friends and family. Then if you have an email list, you want to do a reactivation campaign. A reactivation campaign is essentially a 14-day sequence where you're reigniting your relationship with your email followers and you're giving value. Let me go to, if you go to learn here and you go to my digital marketing, this video here, launch your business.ai/learn. If you watch this video, this is like 4 hours long. There's 20 minutes I'm talking about email sequences. In email sequences, there's always this ratio of value to CTA or sales. So there's a sales element to every email, and there's a giving value to every email. And sometimes it's 100% giving value and 0% sales. You don't even have the CTA. Sometimes it's 80% and 20. Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it's very little value, a lot of sales. This would be like during a countdown sequence, or no value and all sales. This would be like Black Friday or something like that. So every single email that you write is a percent of value and a percent of sales. And what you want to do as you're doing this email sequence, this is advanced, but whatever, this class is called advanced. So the first couple emails that you want to send is you want to give them all value and not even have a CTA. And then after the second or the third email, you start having what's called a soft CTA to join your software, your app, or download your app at the end. Then about 7 days in, you're giving value, but you're also being a little bit more aggressive. Hey, you should really join the software, or you should log in, or you should download the app. And then by the end of the sequence, you're essentially like really forcefully asking people to join. So you're slowly building trust with them over the 14 days. And then at the end, you're like really hammering it home. The best way to do this is also have some urgency where it's like, hey, the free trial is going to end tonight, that kind of thing. Once you do, you want to have a DM and social group posting. So what you want to do is you want to find people that are in groups, whether they're LinkedIn groups or Facebook groups or people that follow certain niche pages on Instagram. This requires a little bit of work. You can hire a BA to do this for you, or you can do it yourself, but you should have 100 different groups that you're going to go into. And you want to start messaging people and just sharing the get free link with as many people as humanly possible. You don't want to do this all in one day. You kind of want to drip it over the course of a couple of weeks, otherwise you might get in trouble. But you definitely want to start messaging people and just have a simple copywriting like, hey, I saw that you're interested in blah, blah, blah. I built a brand new software. Would love you to get to be a beta tester as a free trial. Love your opinion. People love when you're like giving them you give them like a status upgrade. So you send that to, so let's say you have 100 groups, you send it to 100 people in each group, you're going to send it to 10,000 people. Another thing that you can do, I like a software called Salesflow on LinkedIn. I'll give you a quick little advanced LinkedIn thing. So on LinkedIn, if you want to do well on LinkedIn, you should post like twice a week, one regular post and then one article, one long article. And then what you want to do is you want to connect with 20 people per day with a personal message, especially if you have a B2B software or if you have like a software that's like coaching or anything like that. Connect with 20 people a day. Let's say 10 of them connect back. One tricky thing is you want to connect with people that are actually active on LinkedIn, which you can find on Sales Navigator. And then after you connect, you start a combo, give them a compliment. If they respond, send them a link to free trial. So as you can see, let's say 50% of people actually start a combo with you back. That means you're going to get a couple users per day from LinkedIn. The best way to automate this is a software called Salesflow, but it's up to you if you want to automate it. This email, the social media and DMing campaign should get you another 50 or 100 users. So at this point, you're thinking we probably have about 200 beta users. Even if it's only 10%, now you have 20 paying customers, which depending on your price point is not bad. Have a personal onboarding with every single person. Like, for example, I still do one-on-one calls with people. I remember my first big company called MentorBox. I did all the customer support myself. We had a lot of one-on-one calls for the first 6 months. And we ended up having 100,000 paying subscribers to that company. So you got to just do the Airbnb story in the beginning. You have to do things that don't scale. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to onboard all 200 people, it's okay. Then you don't really care about your company. Because if you onboard them, there's a couple things that happen. One, you can get testimonials on those video calls, and then you can add those to your landing page so that you can increase the conversion rate going forward. And you're also going to get data on what you should do to improve the product. Because remember, we have this concept called minimum viable feature. And what are the additional features that people are going to want? You don't really know. You're just guessing. But if you have 200 people using the product, and you have 20, 30 paying customers, then they're going to tell you what they want. Like you guys see the Discord channel with Famous. There's literally a channel called feature requests in Discord. Like that's very publicly asking for advice on how to improve the product. It's like you got to kill your ego and realize that you don't know what you don't know. So if you have, let's say, 100 onboarding calls, then you're going to have 100 30-minute conversations with people that are actually using the product. Then you're going to get a lot of testimonials. You add that to your landing page so that it increases the conversion rate going forward, but also what the 2.0 version should be. So once you get, again, we haven't spent a dollar. We haven't spent a dollar on marketing. We've spent time. You can also hire someone to do this for you. Like we have private clients where we do this entire process for everyone, but it's not free, obviously. I'm not going to do it for free. So either you're going to do this yourself and you're going to sit your butt in the chair and you're going to figure it out and you're going to do it and you're going to feel embarrassed and do it anyways, or you're going to hire someone to do it for you, and there's really no other way. But nonetheless, we haven't spent any money on paid acquisition. I mean, we haven't spent money on Meta. This is all hand-to-hand combat. This is just using what's readily available, which again, I've said this multiple times, but it's easier to launch a business than it's ever been in the history of the world. Imagine trying to get 200 beta users in 2007. What are your options? How are you going to randomly get 20 beta? It's so easy. And it's just a matter of sitting down and doing the 10 or 20 hours of work that are necessary to do it. And that's up to you whether or not you're willing to do that. Or if you're not, then pay someone to do it for you. But anyways, now you have a 2.0 version. So I usually pause for a couple of weeks. Alex doesn't do this. Alex will just keep on plowing ahead, but it depends on your aggression levels. But I usually pause a couple of weeks and get to a 2.0 version based on whatever feedback I'm getting. Then you do a run ads test. Some people call this a scale test, but you can spend like $2,000 on meta ads. What I recommend is lead form. Do you guys know what a lead format is? Basically, you don't go off platform and you just ask them for their email or SMS and their name. And then you put them into a sequence that will automatically email them an SMS. So you can usually get something like a $2 lead to a $10 lead, depending on the industry. If it's a mass market, you can probably get like a $2 lead. If it's executives, it might be $20 for that lead. But nonetheless, this is usually what you're getting. So if you spend $2,000, let's say, what you're doing in theory, let's say it costs, let's just split it in the middle. It's $5 per lead. So that means for every $100, you're going to get 20 people. So if you spend $2,000, you're going to have 400 people. So you'll have 400 emails and you'll have 400 text messages. And what you do is you send them all emails, you send them all SMSs, and you ask them to sign up. And now what you have is, and this is from a previous lesson, but you have your CPA, your AOV, and your lifetime value predictions. So your CPA is the number of the dollar that it took to get someone to sign up. So now you're going to have this number at scale. Even with $2,000 in ad spend, you're going to be able to get that number. And then average order value is essentially the cash collected in the first month. Some people say in the first 3 days, some people say in the first week, but generally speaking, I think it's like in the first month. If someone buys, how much are they going to buy from you in the first month? And then how many months are they going to be with you? That's your lifetime value. These are the numbers that you need. And by the way, with the onboarding, what you want to do, because now you have these numbers, with the onboarding, you also test a high ticket product. So if you remember, I talked about this before. I said you guys need what's called an ascension ladder. You have free, and then you have something that's 50 a month-ish, and then you have something that's 200 a month-ish, and you might want to actually get people to buy yearly. And then you want to have something that's 2.5K plus. Whether it's consulting or one-on-one coaching or some service, a lot of people do like services where maybe you have a software, but people are like, I don't want to do it myself. So you have all these relationships, and then you can sell something that's really expensive. And what that does is it increases the lifetime value. So now, if you can actually make the math work, which you can if you do it right, then you can actually just put more money back into the top of the funnel for lead form. And then all of a sudden, you're ready for scale. But usually you're going to lose money the first month or two. That's just the way it works with software, unless you have a really good high ticket product on the back end. So then you have to decide, am I going to raise money or am I going to bootstrap? But at least now you know your numbers. If your numbers are good, you either just say, am I going to, if I know, if I put in, let's say $10, the first month, Let's say I'm only going to make $2. Maybe that's your average order value. But the lifetime value of the person is 50. This is what an investor wants to see. If we put in $10, we'll lose money for a little bit, but eventually we're going to make a lot. This is like real estate. You buy a piece of real estate, you spruce it up, maybe you increase the rents a little bit, and then it takes 5 to 10 years to pay off, but eventually you have this profitable machine. It's the same thing with software. So it's money in, lose money for a little bit, and then eventually scale. So you either can mine this gap yourself, if you're comfortable with this, just say, hey, we'll build slowly and I'll put it on my credit card or I'll use some savings or whatever it may be. And if that's the case, cool. Then you're going to keep owning the rest of the company forever. Or if these numbers make sense, then you can raise money. And if you want to raise money, you need your terms, which is usually a safe note. And you also want a pitch deck, and then you want to reach out to a lot of investors and have conversations. I don't know if anyone wants a little lesson on capital raising, but this is usually what you want to do. So this is like the standard procedure. So finish, let's go back. What does finish mean? It means that you have your minimum viable feature that makes you unique from your competitors. You make sure that people can actually sign up, logins work. Then you have a can people pay? Make sure that you actually connect your Stripe account. Then you do all the free stuff. You reach out to friends and family, see if you can get 50 people to sign up. Again, remember, it's free. I own a company on capital raising. I have a bunch of lessons here. You guys go to learn. These are a lot of lessons on raising money. If you guys want to watch these. So anyways, you guys get the idea. There's a lot of stuff, but I can teach a little lesson on capital raising if you guys want. But anyways, email list. I've raised almost $250 million for different companies myself. So you do friends and family, then you do email lists. Go to a reactivation campaign if you have an email list. If you don't have an email list, you can try to find someone that does have an email list. You can split profits with them, something like that. Then you DM people and you go into social groups, LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, find people that are following niche Instagram accounts, that kind of thing. Find 100 groups, find 100 people from each group, message all of them. That should get you 50 or 100 other people. Then I explain to you the LinkedIn process. You connect with people that you think could be a good fit. Use Sales Navigator to know the people that are actually active on LinkedIn. Connect with them, give them some compliment in the first message. If they respond, then you can respond back with your link and say, hey, you're expert in the space. I'd love your opinion. Here's a free link to start this beta. You should be able to get 50 or 100 people a month in that way. Remember to always have an onboarding with everyone. So at this point, if you do this correctly, you should have 200 to 300 beta testers. You want to get on the phone with as many people as humanly possible. And when I say phone, Zoom. And when I say Zoom, I say you should record it. And just be honest with them. You get testimonials from those recorded calls, and you also get what's called CDR, customer-driven response. The customer-driven response is data that you know to then create a 2.0 version. Then, once you have a 2.0 version and you have the new testimonials on your landing page, you can run ads. You don't have to run a crazy amount. You can run $10 a day, something like that. $2,000 for a month would be $67 a day. So you earn $67 a day in ads for 1 month. I recommend using lead form ads just so that you can start building your email list, send a lot of SMSs, send emails, get people to sign up, and then you're going to have your cost per acquisition, you're going to have your average order value, and then based on industry standards, you can predict your lifetime value. You should also test high ticket. And then once you have those numbers, you can decide based on those numbers if you feel comfortable bootstrapping it yourself. And if you can bootstrap it and the numbers are good, or you have a really high ticket product, the answer is you should just spend as much money as possible. If you have a machine that spits out more money than it makes in the first month, you should spend $1 million a month. There's no reason not to. But it's very difficult to do that with software or apps because usually you lose money for 3 to 9 months, sometimes even a year, and then eventually you make money. That's why some people raise money. So usually, I'll give you just a quick rundown of capital raising. If you get to this stage, this is how it's going to work. The term sheet is usually a safe note, a simple agreement for future equity. Some people call this convertible note, but anyways, the idea is your company's not really worth anything. It's just not. You might think it's worth a lot, and you're like, no, I've been working on this for 3 years, and I own this intellectual property. No one cares. They're like, if it's worth that much, then sell it for that much. That's the truth. How much it's worth is get a buyer and have them wire you the money. And if they won't do that, then it's not how much it's worth. You know this with collectibles. People are like, this is, or jewelry. They're like, this is worth $50,000. I'm like, is it? Who's going to buy it? Try to buy it. Have you guys ever thought something was worth a lot of money and then you try to sell it like in a garage sale or something, or try to sell it on eBay and it's 20% of what you thought it was worth? Companies are even worse than that, especially if you're just getting started, it's worth zero. Your company is worth zero. So with that in mind, how do you raise money? You can either raise debt, which without revenue, the only way to do that is with a personal guarantee. So that depends on your personal credit score, but that's essentially the same thing as taking out a credit card. So how do you raise equity, meaning you get an equity partner on your cap table without having zero valuation? It's impossible because you're like, oh, what's 100,000 investment divided by zero? That investor owns 100% of it. So Silicon Valley had this problem, and so they figured out a way to do this. A safe note is called a simple agreement for future equity. SAFE, simple agreement for future equity. So what it does is it kicks the can, and so it says we will give you equity. Let's say you give us $100,000. We say, we'll give you equity later. Then we'll actually have a valuation because then we'll have revenue and users. 6 months from now, 9 months from now, we'll have a real valuation based on real data and real numbers. So whenever that new round comes in, whatever that valuation is, the early investor gets some advantage. So they get usually what's called a cap and a discount rate. Cap is essentially, let's say the second round you raise it like $10 million. But if the cap was 5 million, then that means that the investor gets his equity or her equity at 5 million instead of 10. Or even if it was $100 million, let's say, I don't know, you guys went viral and everyone else is coming in at $100 million valuation. If the cap was 5, that early investor gets the advantage of coming in at 5 million. If everything goes badly, then there's a discount. So let's say if we raise at $4 million, the $5 million cap doesn't make any sense. So they would get a discount on the 4 million. I know that's probably some of you guys are just like you're glazed over, but that's the answer. But if you go to my other company website and then click on learn, there's like a million different videos on how to raise money. This free part, like I'll tell you what's going to stop you from doing this is your ego. That's it. You got to be shameless. Alex says you got to use what you have. And if you don't have a lot of money, you got to use your time. If you have some free thing that you're giving people and you're asking them to use it, and also it's valuable to them, and they, I don't know, most of the time people are just going to support you and they're going to be like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then they're going to ignore it because they're hungry or they're worried about some bill or their kid is crazy or something. No one really cares about you as much as you think they do. So you got to just get over that. Reach out to people. If you're like, I don't want to do that, then you probably shouldn't be an entrepreneur. Or you should save a bunch of money and then hire someone to do it for you. But those are really your only two options. You feel uncomfortable. Okay. So now that you feel uncomfortable, now what? What are you going to do about it? That's the question. You're either going to do it anyways, or you're going to have that be your excuse. That's really it. I acknowledge that you feel that way. Now what? I don't know. Because I know some of you guys are like, I don't want to reach out to my friends and family, or I don't want to, my email list, I don't want to annoy them. That's your decision. Okay. Any questions? Anyone want to come to the event next week? Next Saturday, if you guys have some time, I'll put this here. I'm the worst salesperson in the world. I know all the theories and I'm like a good copywriter, but I hate selling. So if you guys want to come to my event, you guys should come. This is my little pitch. Next week, next Saturday. So I'm actually not doing this call next Saturday because I'm doing an 8-hour event. So you guys come here, it's $200. I'll put the link in the chat if anyone wants to join. And if you can't make next Saturday, you should buy anyways because the next one in August is going to be $500. I'm just doing this to get the first testimonials. But it's going to be 8 hours all day, and we're going to finish whatever you're working on and even launch ads if you want to launch ads. You should launch ads. Even if it's $5 and then you turn it off, you should still go through the motions so that you feel like how it is. If you're like, I don't want to launch ads, it's okay. You can literally launch them in theory and then just not push publish, but you should still go through the process. That makes sense. I want people live because I think we're probably only going to have 20 people. And I'm bringing on developers that can help people one-on-one to get through it. So watching it is, I'm sure it's somewhat valuable, but the point is to have your laptop and just actually watch it. So if anyone wants to come, you can come. I'm really no joke on these days because I'm like, let's get to work. So if you're someone that needs accountability or you feel like you've been kicking the can and you just want to finish it, then I would definitely come. What else? And if you guys ever need help raising money, you can always go to my other company. Just so you guys know, I own a staffing agency called Virtual Worker Now. I own Launch Your Business with Alex, which is a part of Famous. I own dealraise.com, which is we help companies raise money. I own a fitness brand called Penalty Box Fitness, which has sold over 100,000 units of a fitness product. I own an audiobook app called Kafka, which was top 20 in the books section on the App Store. So I've experienced a lot of different industries. Morgan, I appreciate that. We actually, the Book Daddy private clients are crushing right now, by the way. If anyone needs help writing a book or wants to finish a book, we just had, I think, 4 #1 bestsellers this week. Passion. It's your fitness business name. Penalty Box Fitness. Fundraising is Deal Raise. If you guys want to work with me privately, you can email me or you can just schedule a call. If you want me to just do everything for you with your software, private client, just schedule a call at launchyourbusiness.ai. It's on the front page. And then if you want to do the book software, it's bookdaddy.ai. And also just take action, guys. People overthink. None of these decisions are difficult. If you're like, maybe I should work with Jonathon, just schedule a call. Schedule right now. Click the button, schedule it. I have this rule that if something takes less than 30 seconds, you have to do it right now. You think about something for a while and you're like thinking, maybe journaling, blah, blah, you're like worried about it, you're thinking about it at night or something, and then you actually sit down to do it and it takes you like 5 minutes. It's always so embarrassing whenever that happens. For me, just do it. Just make the decision. If you're thinking about working with me, just click that link, launchyourbusiness.ai, just click it, and then put in your name, your email. This was like last Saturday when I was talking about decision making. Remember, I kept on saying about ROI probability calculations. Well, everything in your life is really just a probability calculation. And so you remember I told, like, everyone got the question wrong, which is funny. I said, remember, you have this game. You put in $100 and you have a 10% chance of winning, like 10,000 or something. I think that was the example. And I said, would you play this game? And like almost everyone said no. And it's because you're not thinking about playing the game 10 times. So you're over indexing the probability of loss. So you're like, oh, I only have a 10% chance. Play 10 times. Imagine you have 10 Jonathan that could help you. You should schedule all 10 calls. Just do it. The downside is nothing. The downside is 30 minutes of chatting with someone. And then you're like, oh, Jonathan's going to be expensive and I don't want to hurt my ego because maybe I can't afford working with Jonathan. It's like, who cares? Just schedule it. Like, you think I'm not a scary guy. Like, I just click the link. It's so funny. It's so funny with the idea of fight or flight. Most people don't do either. They freeze, fight, flight, or freeze. There's a very small percentage of animals that will freeze. And that's what a lot of humans do. They just freeze. And the answer is just to take action and just, if you failed, you actually learn something. Who cares? Just keep going. I'll give you a lesson from one of my favorite books. There's a book called Billionaire Brain. And you don't have to read the book. I'll teach you the book right now. The whole book says that billionaires think and not or, meaning that the test, your question is a false dichotomy. The answer is both. Because what's the downside? We get a call, then you get to know me, we get to meet. I'll help you out a little bit. If you want services, we can offer them. If you can't afford it, no big deal. I remember me and Alex, the main owner of Famous, we have been working together for a long time, 7, 8 years, for various projects. And I remember when we first started working together, we would do these 4 or 5 hour sessions on Sundays, every Sunday, because sometimes we have events on Saturdays, and then obviously all the employees are working Monday through Friday. And this is a company we were working on. I was a minor equity owner and I was the CEO, and he was the main owner. And he would say, oh, yeah, we should do these Sunday sessions. And we would spend 4 or 5 hours together just brainstorming different things and unblocking ourselves for the next week. And it'd just be him and me. And I remember it'd be like, this is technically our only day off. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we doing another 4 or 5 hours? And he's like, what else are you going to do? He's like, are you serious about your business? What else are you going to do? That's my sales pitch. Why not? You got to do things that are going to move you in the right direction. If you claim that you have a goal, cool. So you say you have a goal, but are your actions aligned with your supposed statement of you have a goal? Christina, I want to do an app for a country club with 1,500 members with family. Oh, like a family country club? Like in person? Oh, I see what you're doing, Christina. You're building it for the country club. Christina, that's easy. Christina, that's easy. And that's actually great. For you guys, another thing, I want you guys to think about this. I want you to think about this. One thing that happens with entrepreneurship, so if you remember, I always said, so there's only products and services. And even like entertainment is essentially a service. So there's either product, whenever you pay money, it's either someone does something for you, either digitally or in person, or you buy a product and they give you some physical thing. That's essentially it. That's the pattern. And one thing that you guys can do is if you build your own software, your own app, and you go through the process and you just force yourself to finish it and launch, then Christina. So the idea here is that if you take something to the finish line and it doesn't become a unicorn, you're not a billionaire, who cares? Because what ends up happening, for example, Christina, you're going to learn how to do it for other people. We have this very small window of opportunity. It's probably 6 to 9 months realistically before everyone catches up and all the agencies start lowering their prices. Because what used to cost like $200,000 to build a software or an app can now be done in like 10 to 20,000, which is just crazy. That's just the way it is. Those agencies will start to realize that there's people like me or there's people like other agencies that are going to be lowering the prices and they're charging 10% of what these other software companies are charging. And so they're going to have to compete with these no-code agencies. And so the prices will slowly drop and the speed will increase. And eventually it's going to be more competitive. But right now, there's not a lot of people that are keeping up with it. So it's called a blue ocean in business right now. So even if you launch something yourself and it doesn't go crazy, it doesn't matter because now you have the skill to do it for other people. And you can charge 10, 20, $30,000. And it's way cheaper than what they're getting charged by some other random software company that's going to charge them $300,000. So it's a very good opportunity. It's just a sales pitch for learning skills. You know what I mean? That's all it is. I'm just pitching the idea of aggressively learning skills when there's an opportunity in the market. You guys are warriors, man. And I'll see you on Tuesday, or I'll see you one-on-one if you schedule the call. Cheers, guys. Have a good weekend. Go team. Bye-bye.